Hello my dear students, welcome to Prudence Coaching English class. In this particular channel, you will get ICSE, CBSE and WBBSE solutions.
So my dear students, as usual, we came up with another important chapter of your book, that is Uncle Podger Hangs a Picture. Students, you take out your book and follow the lines. We will give you line by line explanation. Students, we are asking you to follow the text because your pronunciation and reading skill will increase by doing so. So you just follow the text and follow the videos. So let's start. You never saw such a commotion up and down a house in all your life as when my Uncle Podger undertook to do a job. A picture would have come from frame makers and be standing in the dining room, waiting to be put up. And Aunt Podger would ask what was to be done with it. And Uncle Podger would say, "Oh, you leave that to me, don't you? Any of you, worry yourself about that. I will do all that." So in the first paragraph, we get to know that the speaker or the author is saying that you have never seen such a disturbance in any house before. And according to our speaker or the author, this disturbance is going to begin when this Uncle Podger will start doing a work. Means he will start doing something. What this work is about? According to this paragraph, we get to know that a picture is given to the frame maker to frame it out, and that picture is going to come today. And when this picture comes, which is to be hung in the dining room, Aunt Podger asks that what is to be done with this picture. For this Uncle Podger says that nothing is to worry like that. When I am there, I will do all that. You need not to worry. None of you need to worry about it. I will do all these things by myself. So this is the thing which we can find in this paragraph. Next. And then he would take off his coat and begin. He would send the girl out for 6 pennorth of nail, and then one of the boys after her to tell her what size to get. And from that, he would gradually work down and start the whole house. So what we get to know in this paragraph, that he just started the work. For that, he has just taken off his coat and he has started doing the work. And he has not taken anything for the work. He has asked the girl to bring a 6 pennorth nail, but he hasn't mentioned the size. So for that, again he had to send another boy after her to tell the size, exact size of the nails. So like this, he has just involved the whole house, means whole family, in this particular work of hanging this picture. Let us move on to the next paragraph. Now you go and get me my hammer, will hiss out, and you will bring the rule, Tom, and I shall want the step ladder, and I had better have a kitchen chair too. And Jim, you run round to Mr. Goggles and tell him pa's kind regards and hopes his legs better, and will he lend me his spirit level? And don't you go, Maria, because I shall want somebody to hold me the light. And when the girl comes back, she must go out again for a bit of picture cord. And Tom, where is Tom? Tom, you come here. I shall want you to hand me up the picture. So in this paragraph, we get to know that, as I have said before, that he hasn't taken anything for the work and he has started working. For this, we find that in the previous paragraph, he has sent a girl for 6 pennorth of nail, and after that, he has sent another boy to say her the size. Now in this particular paragraph, we find that he has not even taken the hammer in his hand for putting this picture up. So here we find he says Tom to bring a hammer and a rule, and again he says that he wants a step ladder for climbing up and also a kitchen chair. And again he says Jim to go to Mr. Goggles and tell him that Pa has sent you kind regards and he hopes that Mr. Goggles' leg will be better soon. And again he says, Maria, that you need not to go anywhere because you need to hold me the light, means show the light. So here we find that the girl who was sent for bringing 6 pennorth of nails, she comes back and she was again sent for bringing a bit of picture cord. And on the other hand, Tom, who was sent for bringing hammer, next rule, again step ladder and kitchen chair, he has not yet came back. Then also this Uncle Podger is asking for Tom. He's asking, where is Tom? Where he has gone? He should be here for handing me up the picture. Means Tom has not yet arrived. Then also this Uncle Podger is searching him and asking him to hand over the picture so that he can hang up the picture in the dining room. After a while, Tom arrives when he was asked to hand over the picture to Mr. Podger or Uncle Podger. Let us move on to the next paragraph. And then he would lift up the picture and drop it, and it would come out of the frame, and he would try to save the glass and cut himself. And then he would spring round the room looking for his handkerchief. He could not find his handkerchief because it was in the pocket of the coat he had taken off, and he did not know where he had put the coat. And all the house had to leave off looking for his tools and start looking for his coat, while he would dance round and hinder them. So in this paragraph we find that when Tom handed over the picture to Uncle Podger tried to lift it up and he dropped it. And as the picture frame was dropped down, therefore we find that the picture came out from the frame. And this Uncle Podger tried to save the glass from breaking down. And by doing this, he has cut his hand. Means he has cut himself. So while saving the glass, he has cut himself. Now he needed a handkerchief. So he was searching for the handkerchief, but he could not find it because the handkerchief was kept in a pocket of the coat which he has just taken off. But he did not remember that where he has kept the coat. And for this, what happens, the whole house, means the whole family member, was asked to find it out, and he was just dancing around, means he was becoming anxious, and he was ordering all of them to find the coats and bring all the tools for hanging this particular picture. So here we find Uncle Podger is creating all the problems, and he wants his family member to come up with the solutions to the problems. This is clear here because here we find that he has lost the handkerchief himself, and even he cannot find out his coat, and while he was hanging the picture, he has not taken any of the tools and making others face the problem and ordering others to bring all those things. And now when he has lost the handkerchief, he is dancing around, means he is not having a little bit of patience in himself and making other disturbed. So this is the things which we find in this particular paragraph. Let us move on to the next paragraph. Doesn't anybody in the house know where my coat is? I never came across such a set in all my life. Upon my word, I didn't. 6 of you, and you can't find a coat that I put down not 5 minutes ago? Well off all thee. So in this paragraph, Uncle Podger is such a character that he has lost his coat not 5 minutes ago, then also he could not find his coat. And he is blaming his family member and saying them that you, all 6 of you, means you are 6 of you, means 6 members, then also you can't find a coat which I have lost 5 minutes ago. Means he is blaming for his own mistakes, and he is just giving some slangs to his family member and just abusing them. So this is the thing which we get to know in this paragraph. Let us move on to the next one. Then he had get up and find that he had been sitting on it, and would call out, "Oh, you can leave it up. I have found it myself now." Might just as well ask that cat to find anything as expected you people to find it. So here the person, that is Uncle Podger, gets up and finds that he was sitting on that particular coat which he had asked all of them to find it out. And when he got this coat, he is saying, "Oh, you just leave it up. You need not to find it anymore. I have got my coat myself." And he was very proud that he has found out the coat by himself. And he was using some abusive words, some slang words, and he compares his family member with a cat and says, "It is same as I ask a cat to find the coat as I ask you all to find it out." Now let us move on to the next paragraph. And when half an hour had been spent in tying up his finger, and a new glass had been got, and the tools and the ladder and the chair and the candle had been brought, he would have another go. The whole family, including the girl and the chairwoman, standing round in a semicircle, ready to help. 2 people would have to hold the chair, and the third would help him up on it and hold him there, and a fourth would hand him a nail, and a fifth would pass him up the hammer, and he would take hold of the nail and drop it. So in this particular paragraph, we get to know that it was half an hour, more than half an hour, that he had taken to tie up his finger, which was cut by the glass. Next, a new glass was bought for the work, and the tools, ladder, chair, candle, all those things which he asked for was brought and given to him. And now the whole family, including the charwoman, was standing round him in a semicircle to help him. And here we find the person who in the beginning said that I alone is enough to do this simple work. He was needing all this person, means all this 7 person, including the charwoman, to help him just to get up and do this work. So for this, he needed 2 person who will just hold the chair on which he is going to get up. And again, the 4th person was needed to pass over the nail to him, and the 5th one was needed to give him the hammer. And after all these things, what he does is, after holding the nail, he drops it. Means he could not even hold the nail which was passed over to him by one. Next, there I would say in an injured tone, now the nail's gone. So here in this paragraph we find that he is saying in an injured tone, means he is saying that he has lost the nail which was passed over to him. Next, and we would all have to go down on our knees and grovel for it, while he would stand on the chair and grunt and want to know if he was to kept there all the evening. So in this particular paragraph, we get to know that after he has lost the nail, all the family members has to sit by their knees and grovel here and there to find out the nail which he has dropped down. And by this time, he was standing on the chair and grunting, so he's showing his anger and just saying, ordering others to find it out. And he was showing that as if he is doing such a big work by standing on that chair, and he is asking his family member whether he had to stand on this chair whole evening or not. So this is the thing he was doing. Next, the nail would be found at last, but by that time he would have lost the hammer. So by the time the family member had searched the nail out, by that time this man, that is Uncle Podger, lost the hammer. Where's the hammer? What did I do with the hammer? Great heaven, 7 of you gapping down there, and you don't know what I did with the hammer? So in this paragraph, we get to know that this family member helped out him for finding out the nail. By that time, he has lost the hammer. And Uncle Podger, after he loses the hammer, he blames his family members and says that 7 of you, what are you doing there? You can't do anything, and you are gapping around there, and you don't know where I kept the hammer. So he has lost the hammer, and he is just blaming the family member and the charwoman for this. Next paragraph, we would find the hammer for him, and then he would have lost the sight of the mark he had made on the wall where the nails was to go in, and each of us had to get up on the chair beside him, and we would each discover it in a different place. And he would call us all fools, one after another, and then tell us to get down. And he would take the rule and remeasure and find that he wanted half 31 and 3/8 inches from the corner. And he would try to do it in his head and go mad. So in this paragraph, we get to know that by the time the family members helped him to get the hammer, he had lost the sight of the mark he had made on the wall, wherefrom the nail is to go in. So he asked all of them one by one to get up beside him and check the mark, but each one of them had discovered a new mark in different place. So he calls all the family members a fool, one after the another, and tells them to get down. And then he just took the rule by himself and tried to remeasure the mark, for which he needed half 31 and 38 inches from the corner, but he could not just calculate it, and he was going to get mad. Next paragraph, and we would all try to do it in our heads, and all arrive at different results and sneer at one another, and in the general row the original number would be forgotten, and Uncle Podger would have to measure it again. So what happened? In the next paragraph, we find that this Uncle Podger was unable to measure the length, and when all the members tried to do the calculation in their head and they arrived at different result, means all the answers were different, and they sneered at one another, and while doing this all the family members forgotten the original number, so Uncle Podger have to measure it again. Next paragraph. He would use a bit of string this time, and at the critical moment when the old fool was leaning over the chair at an angle of 45 and trying to reach a point 3 inches beyond what was possible for him to reach, the string would slip, and down he would slip on to the piano. A really fine musical effect being produced by the suddenness with which his head and the body struck all the notes at the same time. In this paragraph, we find that he took a bit of string for measuring the length again, and at the critical moment, what happens? He was leaning over the chair at an angle of 45 degrees. And he was trying to reach a point which was beyond his reach, means it was 3 inches beyond his reach. Then also he was trying to reach that particular point, and by doing this the string slipped and he fell down, and he just fell down on the piano, and a sudden musical effect, which was a fine musical effect, which was heard because his full body and the head struck all notes of the piano at the same time. And here we also find that the author is calling this Uncle Podger an old fool. Next paragraph. And Aunt Maria would say she would not allow the children to stand round and hear such language. So here we find that as Mr. Podger was using slang languages which was not good for the children to hear, Aunt Maria says that she would not allow the children to stand there and hear all such language. Next paragraph. At last, Uncle Podger would get the spot fixed again and put the point of nail on it with his left hand and take the hammer in his right hand. And with the first blow, he would smash his thumb and drop the hammer with a L on somebody's toe. So in this particular paragraph, we find that Uncle Podger finally got the spot, and he fixed the nail on that particular spot with his left hand, and he took the hammer in his right hand, and by giving the first blow he has smashed his thumb, and he dropped the hammer down and the hammer fell on somebody's toes. Next paragraph. Aunt Maria would immediately observe that next time that Uncle Podger was going to hammer a nail into the wall, she hoped he had let her know in time so that she could make arrangement to go and spend a week with her mother while it was being done. So here Aunt Maria get a little bit angry or annoyed and says that if Uncle Podger would have said her that when he is going to hammer a nail into the wall next time, she would make arrangement to go and spend a week with her mother while the work is done. According to Aunt Maria, she is saying that Uncle Podger will take almost a week to complete this work. Next paragraph. Oh, you woman, you make such a fuss over everything. Uncle Podger would reply, picking himself up. Why, I like doing a little job of this sort. So here we find Uncle Podger get annoyed, and he is showing like this that this work is nothing and it is a simple and a little job which he is doing now, and all these women just make it a large one or make this work a big one. So it is not a work for him. So this is the thing which he wants to show off in this particular paragraph. Next. And then he would have another try, and at the second blow the nail would go clean through the plaster and half the hammer after it, and the Uncle Podger be precipitated against the wall with force nearly sufficient to flatten his nose. Here we find in his second attempt the nail went through the plaster and the plaster was damaged and the work was not done. Even we find that half the hammer was after it when Uncle Podger was precipitated against the wall and nearly his nose was flattened because he was giving full force on the wall. Next, then we had to find the rule and the string again, and a new hole was made, and about midnight the picture would be up. Very crooked and insecure, the wall forwards round, looking as if it had been smoothed down with a rake, and everybody dead beat and rest, except Uncle Podger. In this particular paragraph, as the plaster was removed a bit, so a new ruler and a string was brought, and again he started the work, and till midnight the work was complete, and the crooked it was crooked means it was not plain or it was not secure as it must be. So the wall was looking uneven and it was not in a good hold. So everybody was dead beat and rest. They were very tired except Uncle Podger. He was very satisfied with his work. Next paragraph or the last paragraph. There you are, he would say, stepping off the chair onto the charwoman's cones and surveying the mess he had made with evident pride. Why, some people would have had a man in to do a little thing like that. So here, with his pride, after getting off the chair, he is saying, after seeing all the mess he has done, with evident pride, he is saying that why some people ask a man to do such a little thing. This is a little thing and this is very easy for us. So like this, he is showing his pride. So my dear students, with this we come to the end of this particular story, and this particular story is written by Jerome K. Jerome. Students, if you find the content of this video helpful, then like this video and also subscribe this channel to get more videos like this. And also check out the description box and the playlist of this particular channel to get all videos arranged in order. And don't forget to press on the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from this particular channel. Thank you, take care of yourself and stay tuned.